Awesome. Okay, everybody. Well, welcome to our bonus session today. We are going to be looking at how to 10x your investment in the EntreMD Business School. We do not call it a cost, right? Because it's not a cost. Same way if you invest in real estate, that is not a cost. It's an investment, and you do it knowing that you're going to get a return on investment. Okay, so we are, like we want to show you how to come in, how to create those wins, how you can, like me, say the EntreMD Business School, that was the best investment I ever made in my life and in my business. There are so many students in the EntreMD Business School that say exactly that. And that's something that I want you to be able to say. I know some people are thinking about it, but they're like, I don't know if, I will be able to thrive there. I'm going to give you the exact blueprint on how to do that. So we have had over 250 students, doctors go through, many are still in the EntreMD Business School. And these are, we've studied this over time. Makita is here. We've studied this over time, like what makes people succeed and all of that. And I'm going to give you 5 of my best stuff. Okay, 5 of my best stuff. So how many of you are ready for that? How many of you are like, Dr. Una, just give us all the things? We want to know. We want to know because I want you to be able to say what. I think this was Dr. Signorelli who posted this in the group earlier. She was like, my only regret is not signing up sooner. I want you to be able to say that. Okay. All right. So for those of you who are here live, say hi in the chat. I'm going to need some energy. Where is everybody? Say hi. Say hi. We are going to have a blast. Dr. Brennan, Dr. C. Rides, one of the newest docs in the EntreMD Business School, and she is here to know how she's going to 10x, going to absolutely crush it and kill it. Hiya, Baron. Nice to see you here. Okay, absolutely crush it. Okay, all right. So let's get into this now. If we have not met before, my name is Dr. Una. I am a pediatrician by training. This phase of my career is 1,000% dedicated to helping doctors figure out how to build profitable 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses so they have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on their terms. Now, on the live session that I did yesterday, I was talking about the dream that we had when we went into medical school, right? We had this dream that we were going to help people. This is for most of the doctors I talked to. They're like, why are you going to medicine? I want to help people. But some things that we didn't quite articulate, but we expected, is that as we help people, we will make a living and we will have a life, right? It's just that in the times that we live in, that dream is kind of turned into a nightmare because we are controlled. We can't help people the way we want. We are controlled. We can't make the living we want, and we are controlled. We can't have a life the way we want, right? With all the loss of autonomy, the burnout, all of those kind of things. The vehicle to go back to living the dream you wanted in the first place is entrepreneurship, and that is what EntreMD is all about. We're out here to help. Our BHAG is we're going to help 100,000 doctors, and one of the core ways we do that is through the EntreMD Business School, which is our year-long program. Of course, we've had people who this is their 3rd year in the school, and they just keep killing it in bigger dimensions. But it's our year-long program. And today I really want to come and talk about how you can get the most out of that. Okay. As far as announcements go, I'm looking forward to, for the doctors who have joined the school, I'm really looking forward to their orientation, which is the EBS. EBS is EntreMD Business School, the EBS kickoff event. It is starting on Wednesday. And what we're going to be doing is think of it as a 90-day boot camp. The boot camp is not for 90 days, but it's a boot camp that will help you thrive the next 90 days. And the goal is to set up everyone who joins with this cohort. We're going to be doing a 90-day workshop, show you how to get those 90 days goals, those goals set, show you how to create the plan to execute them, show you the support, like how you can use the program to support you on that journey. Because I want after 90 days for everybody who joins this cohort to be like, oh my goodness, I am completely mind blown. Okay, so that's the whole agenda. So we will be meeting live on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If for any reason you're like, I can't make it live, everything we do, everything we've done since the school started has been recorded. Everything is recorded. You'll be able to get the replays. And I asked my big boss, Makita, for permission to give this bonus because she runs my life. I just live it. And for everybody who signs up, if you choose to, We have an in-person event. We have two in-person events a year, and the one happening next month is called the Business Makeover Mastermind. It is currently closed. It's currently closed, like we closed it because we're a month out. But for everybody who joins this cohort, if you are like, I want to come to Atlanta, I want to meet Dr. Una and my classmates in person, I want to come and workshop my business, we opened it up, okay? We've opened it up, and you get to come in at half off, okay? So Makita will be able to give you all the details, but it is ridiculous. Like the people in the school before you will be like, Dr. Una, really? But you get to do that. You're the favorite one. Okay. All right, so that place to sign up, well, to go put in your application is entremd.com/business. Okay. And if you're like, well, I want to do it, but I have one question, fill out an application. Okay. The application process is not designed to keep you out. The application process is designed to bring you in. Okay. It's designed to bring you in, but then we want to make sure that we're best equipped for your goals. And so if for any reason we're like, we think this will be a better fit for you and all that, we will lead you. We're not bringing you in to lead you astray. Like we're going to show you where to go and all of those kind of things. So entremd.com/business, there's no high sales, high pressure, tactics. We don't do any of that stuff. All right. So let's talk about how to 10x your investment. Okay. So the investment, when you look at year long, we're talking about $25,000. How do I 10x that? Now, bear in mind that this is me being exceptionally conservative, right? Because they're all ends of the spectrum. So there's some people who have 1x, 2x, 5x, 10x, 100x, right? Like they've done that. They've done that in the school. Okay. So the first thing, and big shout out, Dr. Palmer is here, Dr. Lola is here. That's the thing about the doctors in the EntreMD Business School. Dr. Valerie is here, Dr. Veller. They are so humble, right? They're like, I'm in it, I'm killing it, but I want to know how to 10x this even more. Like, unbelievable. I'm so proud of you. You guys, Dr. Kara, hi. Okay, so they're here. Okay, so how do I 10x my investment? The very first thing is a decision. I cannot tell you how powerful making a decision is. You make a decision. I am going to 10x my investment. This is going to be the best investment I've made in my business. That's what's happening here, right? You make a decision. Now, I'll give you some examples. So Dr. Emeka Obidi is a pediatrician, and he owns a private practice, thriving private practice. He was already killing it before he joined, and he just, blew that through the roof. And when he was coming in, there was I think it was 1 month, Makita can correct me if I'm wrong, a month or two between when he signed up and when he could join the school. And he said, but he had access to the vault. So he had access to all the trainings, but he wasn't coming for the live sessions. He says, I am going to make back my investment before I even actually start in the school. It was a decision. It's a decision he even made openly because I read it. He put it there on social media. And that was his decision. So guess what he did before he officially joined the school? He made back his investment, right? Dr. Carolina Swaldo, she shared her story on, I think, day 2 of the visibility formula workshop. And she says, I'm going to come in and I'm going to be the best student. It was a decision, but she came in, she showed up with that attitude, and it's just been one win after the other. Within 90 days, she'd gone from a brand that is not really known to CNN reaching out like, hey, can we interview you? I'd like, think about that, right? But it started with a decision, okay? So if you're deciding to become this kind of person who makes decisions, I want you to type in the chat, me. Okay, because sometimes we hold off on it because we know if we make that decision, there's some accountability there. I kind of have to live up to it. I have to do the work and all of that. But if you're deciding, I'm going to be that kind of person who makes those decisions, you can make a decision. I'm going to 10x my investment. Okay, I'm going to 10x my investment. So if that's you, say me like that. Hi, Dr. Corrier. Hi. I'm going to do that. The results we get are the mercy of the decisions that we make. That's the very first thing. This is not something you can delegate. Nobody will make the decision for you. No matter how great a program is, you still need to make a decision. That's part of your partnership, okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is the commitment to doing the work. the commitment to doing the work. So when I talk with entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs who are either in the early phases of their businesses or they're building new verticals, right? So there's these, new beginnings or old beginnings, but any of those phases, when I find them really, really struggling, I find a huge part of the struggle is I shouldn't need to work for this, right? I shouldn't need to work for this. And once you have that mindset, once you have that mentality, being an entrepreneur is going to be so painful because it does require hard work. Now, in the EntreMD Business School, Makita is here, she'll tell you, there's students, doctors here who are in the business school, they'll tell you, I am constantly thinking, how can I make this simpler? How can I help them get results faster? How can I share my own story so they can see it? How can I put examples in front of them? How can I create a blueprint? How can I create some kind of exercise that will make this simpler? So we're all for working smart, but even the smart work is hard work, right? Doesn't mean impossible work and your life will be completely out of balance and you won't have a life. No, like we talk about building your dream business and your dream life at the same time, right? That's part of one of our core things in the EntreMD Business School, but it is hard work. So if you're like, I am ready to do the work to get the result that I want, you will love the business school. Okay, because we will be able to steer you in the direction of working smart, working on the 20% work that really matters and all of that. But it's the commitment, like I am going to do the work. And so Dr. Rashmi is a star doc in the EntreMD Business School, like many of the others that are here. And she tells this story of when she first started in the EntreMD Business School. She was like, when we would throw out challenges, like, this is what we're going to be doing. This is the work we're going to be doing. And she was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so you're going to go out, you're going to pitch yourself on podcast. No, I'm not going to be doing that either. Yes, this is what we're going to do on social media. No, I'm not going to do that either. Then what started happening is she's noticing all the people who came in with her are doing the things and coming back to report like, hey, I did this and this is what happened. This is the result that happened in my business. And then she had a little, come to Jesus moment with herself. And she's like, you know what? Like, I invested to be here. Like, what am I doing? I want the results. And she decided to start doing the work and everything turned around. Okay. So the commitment to doing the work. I understand sometimes as physicians, we're like, we've worked so hard. I mean, like it took us over a decade. Like our training alone took us over a decade, right? And you're like, I've worked so hard. I've paid my dues. It's time for me to rest, right? But business is not necessarily a place where you rest. Now you work smart, but it's still hard work, right? And the thing is, if you do the hard work up front, then you can rest even more later. Like progressively, you can increase your amount of rest. And so I told the story of how I had, built my private practice and I was like, I wanted to take a sabbatical. I have not been in my private practice since December 27, 2021, right? So you can argue that I'm resting, but I did work to get up to that point. Do you see what I'm saying? So we are always talking about how to help you build a business that ultimately, if you wanted to sell it, you could. If you could do that. You can build a team that will run it and all those things. We will show you that, but there is still work to be done. Okay. So again, I know that you're here for a reason. And, so I want you to, this is a commitment to make, whether you're in the business school or not. I choose to work hard on my business. Type that in the chat. I choose to work hard on my business. This is a choice. This will make a difference, a huge difference if you'll do it. There's nothing as heartbreaking as seeing someone who says, I want to build a business because I want to bring in passive income. And I'm like, yeah, see, entrepreneurship is an active sport. That's like saying, I want to be one of the basketball greats and I want to be on the bench. It doesn't work that way. Entrepreneurship is an active sport. Okay. Now, does that mean, oh, it's so scary and I won't have a life? No, you can learn to work smart, but the smart work is still hard work. Okay. All right. So we're talking about how to 10x your investment, because I would love nothing more for you to say, Dr. Una, I owe you. Like whatever I paid to invest in the EntreMD Business School, I owe you. And I said, that's okay, you can keep it. Right? But that's the experience that I want you to have. Okay. The third thing is and this is especially for us as physicians, okay, is to redefine your relationship with failure. Is to redefine your relationship with failure, right? Okay, so if you are a neurosurgeon, okay, I want you to aim for perfection. Okay, if you are a heart surgeon, I want you to aim for perfection. If you are a pediatrician, putting a spinal needle in a newborn's spinal column, I want you to aim for perfection. But in business, you are going to fail a lot in order to succeed a lot. And I wish I could say that 10,000 times, but it's not fatal. It's not a problem. It doesn't make you a failure. It's like you tested something in the lab. It's like you're learning to put in IVs, right? You don't try it once and you're like, it didn't work, so I quit. It's just part of the process. And if somebody defined success as going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. If you can remember that as an entrepreneur, you'll enjoy your journey. Makita is here. She will tell you, we are building, we're in the active phase building a business. So we try a lot of things. The things that don't work, we don't get bent out of shape over it, right? We are like, okay, well, don't do that. Or what can we tweak to make it better? Or was it the wrong timing? And we keep moving. If you redefine your relationship with failure, where when you try something, right, and it doesn't quite work the way you wanted it to work, you're okay. Like you can give yourself 5 minutes, 10 minutes, one day to be mad, and that's it, and you move on. As opposed to 5 months, you're still, upset over something that happened that didn't quite work. You gotta redefine your relationship with failure. Okay. And when we talk about failure, we're not talking about you as a failure. I would never call an entrepreneur a failure. Like, especially if you have these attributes. No, because you're in the ring, you're getting stuff done, you're doing the work, you're being the leader. If you are a physician entrepreneur, let me tell you, I have an unbelievable amount of respect for you because we're living in a time where people don't quite get it. People don't want to embrace it. Sometimes talking about money is like a taboo. If you talk about profit, it's like you're the enemy. If you're trying to build a business bigger, you've gone to the dark side, and all of that. So everybody at this stage who is building a business as a physician, you're a visionary. You're a trailblazer. You're setting the stage. You're changing the paradigm. You're changing the narrative for the physician community. You are not a failure. Now, you may have failed projects, but it doesn't make you a failure. And there's nobody who's successful who has not had failed projects. Now I talk about, my husband watches basketball and I watch basketball, right? Like that's the way it works for a great marriage. And, and so, when I look at it, think about the greats in basketball, right? So think about LeBron James, think about Michael Jordan, think about all these people. They're not great because when they shoot the ball, it always goes in the basket. That's not why they're great. They're great because they keep at it. They keep getting better at their craft. They've redefined their relationship with failure. The ball didn't go into a basket. So what? Rebound it and get it to go again. Like that's the relationship we have, right? Because in the business school, you have lots of opportunities to try different things, to try new things, to try things you haven't done before. And if you're okay with trying it and it didn't quite hit your expectation, but you're like, okay, how could we do that differently? Or you come in the group and you ask questions and things like that. If you can adopt that attitude, you'll kill it. Like you will crush it. It will be amazing because redefining your relationship with failure is a requirement, right? So you can keep at it. And the thing about the EntreMD, like the business school, the private Facebook group, is that people are so open and vulnerable there. So somebody will come in and say, I did a webinar, it didn't go according to plan. This is the number of people I wanted. I got half that number, and they'll do a full debrief. Like, these are the things that work. These are the things I did that worked. These are the things I did that didn't work. This is the thing I was supposed to do, but I didn't do, and here's why. This is what I'm going to do differently on my next one. Like, listening to somebody talk about what is a failed project is like a whole masterclass. It's like the most amazing thing. right? And so if you adopt that attitude, like there can be failed projects, it doesn't make me a failure, it doesn't make my business a failure. If you can adopt that, you will thrive and you'll set yourself up to 10x your investment in the EntreMD Business School. Okay, so that is number 3. Okay, number four, how do you know you'll 10x your investment? You trade comparison for inspiration. Like you see people, I am telling you, let me use myself as an example. I have some communities where I find myself where, somebody's like, yeah, our business, I really like the direction we're going in. We're at this point, we're doing about an easy million a month. I need to think about that, like an easy million a month. I'm like, million easy month, all in one sentence. Okay, cool. That's nice, right? I can choose to compare and think my business sucks, or I can be inspired. That's my choice. Do you see what I'm saying? Where somebody's like, so what's the valuation of your business? I'm not sure it's still accurate. We did it a year ago, but it's about 500 million. I'm like, 500 million. Pretty fancy. I have a choice though. I could say, oh, so I absolutely suck and all of this stuff, or I can say, that is inspiring. Pray tell. If you're going to tell your version, if you're going to tell you from 10 years ago, your things to focus on, what will you say? I can choose to be inspired. I can choose to be curious, or I can compare and go into hiding and say, I don't belong here because everybody's better than me and all of that stuff, right? How many of you just make Dr. Una happy here? Just say, I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go into hiding and say people are better than me. I'm not going to go into hiding and say I don't belong here. Of course I belong here. Like, are you kidding? I'm one of y'all. Do you see what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm pointing this out is because in the EntreMD Business School, you are going to meet all kinds of people. You're going to see people who say, oh, I just completed my 3rd TED Talk. You're going to see people who are going to say, oh, I just got paid $20,000 to do this, this talk over here. You're going to meet people who are going to say, oh, I just given a paid position to be on the board for this medical device company. You're going to see people who are going to say, oh, I just completed my 1st year in private practice and we crossed $1 million, right? You're going to see someone who say, my business grew by 2.5 million in 1 year. You're going to see all kinds of people. Right? You're going to see people who are like, oh yeah, my hospital, I was just like, you guys, everybody here deserves a coach. And I negotiated for all the doctors in the whole hospital system to get private coaching. You're going to see wins that could intimidate you or inspire you, but you get to choose, right? You get to say, I suck, I should go and hide, or wow, I get to be in this community with these people and I can ask them questions and I can see them, because some of them, many of them, you will see there's a doctor, she's here, but I won't call her by name, but she started her practice and she's tracking, this is the way this month is going, this is the way this is going, and she's giving us the whole timeline. Like you get to watch the thing that could be intimidated happen right in front of you. You could be grateful that you're in a community where you can see behind the scenes of all kinds of businesses and people killing it, or you can choose to hide and say, I don't belong here. You can decide to hide and say, my story is not valuable, or my lesson is not valuable. And I'm going to invite you to not do that. Okay, I need to remember who you are. You're a whole physician. Okay, like, if you think about it, like 30 million people in the U.S. There's only 1 million of us. That's how unique you are, right? There are many of you. You're the only so many things, right? You're amazing. And what you're doing when you show up in the EntreMD Business School is you're layering on even more amazingness. You see what I'm saying? Like, you show up like, I belong here. That's the way you show up. So you can choose to compare or you can choose to be inspired. I'm inviting you to choose inspired. Your network is your net worth. When you join the EntreMD Business School, your net worth just explodes. Why? Because now you're in community with physicians who are physician entrepreneurs, who are actively growing their businesses, who are doing all kinds of businesses. Most things you ever need are a phone call or a DM away. That's how connected you become. You can choose to leverage that and see that as a gift, or you can choose to be intimidated by it. It's a choice. How do you know you're going to 10x, at least 10x your investment? You trade comparison and you choose inspiration instead. Inspiration and curiosity. And you choose to show up. You don't lurk, you don't hide, because you're like, I belong here. Okay? All right. So let me know in the chat. Are you guys tracking with me? Let me know. Talk to me. Talk to me. Are you tracking with me? Are you like, what? I see some people in the EntreMD Business School already. They're like, oh, I'm tracking. Like, I was gonna 10x my investment. I'm liking 100x right now. I'm liking the way that's looking. Okay. Okay. And remember this, right? Like, I had a mentor who would say it this way. Just think of yourself as somebody who's in a garden, and there are different kinds of plants, right? So there's mangoes, there's oranges, like there's bananas and all of those things. And every fruit has its season, right? And so if the mango is doing its thing, and it's not time for the banana plant could just be there clapping, knowing that this is amazing. Now my season is coming, but oh my goodness, this is amazing. You can celebrate knowing that everybody's going to have their turn. Everybody's going to have their season. Everybody, right? And so you can celebrate others. You can celebrate, you can promote their stuff like this is amazing, knowing that it's only a matter of time. Okay. All right. So that's number 4. Okay. Number 5. Number 5 is engaging in all the elements of the school. Okay. Engaging in all the elements of the school. Now, for the people who, let me see if there's anybody here that is in that cohort. Not here. Okay. Now, when the EntreMD Business School started in 2020, the people there will tell you, we had the Facebook group and we had the calls on Wednesday. And that was really it. That was the school at that time. And every year, we push to make it better. We listen, we see where people are getting stuck. We add different elements, and we add them in order to help people get results faster, get results more consistently, and all of those things. And so everything you see built in the school is not because we're looking for something new to do at all. It is designed to solve a specific problem. It is designed to give you a specific result. Now, before I tell you what those elements are, I do want to say this. If you listen to the doctors who share their wins in the school, they will tell you, you hear some people say, I only do about 10% of the things in the school. I only do about 30%. So this is not about doing 100%. This is not medical school, okay? You don't have to have 100% at all. But for the stage of life and business where you are, engage with it as much as possible. So if there's a doctor in the school who has a 6-month-old, am I expecting that they're going to do as much as the person who has no kids at home because they're all in college and she's doing her business full time? Of course not, right? There's going to be some difference. But for that phase, are you doing the best that you can do? Are you taking full advantage of the program? So this is not about 100%. This is just about not saying, oh, I'm not going to do that, or I'm not going to do that, right? Because if you're coachable, it makes everything easier. So for instance, we have the Wednesday, which will be happening in a few days, live sessions. 99% of those will be with me. And in those sessions, it's all about helping you acquire those core business skills, right? Acquire them and gain mastery of them, right? So you can move your business forward. So we would do things like, for the new cohort, what you're about to experience, the 90-day boot camp, you're going to be blown away. Okay. So we would do workshops like that. We started the $1 Million Entrepreneur series, where we talk about the $1 million mindset, the $1 million response to failure, the $1 million team, the $1 million processes, like all of those. So we do all of those things, right? So you understand, you take away all the fluff. Like when you look online, what do you see? Oh, challenges, that's the only way to grow your business. Ads, that's the only way to grow your business. Speaking on stage, that's the only way to grow your business. And you're like, like how to build a business that's 7 figures and you work 1 day a week and you don't have a team. Like there's all kinds of stuff online. But we take the most classic principles that have always worked and will always work, and make you experts at that. And we don't say this is the one prescribed way of doing everything, because again, there are all kinds of different businesses. We show you how to think as an entrepreneur, how to process as an entrepreneur, how to troubleshoot, right? Like, so we're teaching you the classic principles. So we have those live sessions. We have the success groups run by Dr. Beckford, which are fantastic because it's all about implementation. So we've learned this, we've learned that, now come together. So sometimes they'll come, they're working their 90-day plan. Some of the times they'll come and it's like, okay, we're gonna write all the copy for our social media for the next 2 weeks. They do that. Sometimes they come in and we're like, okay, we're gonna do this video challenge. Everybody, those reels you didn't want to make, let's make all of them now. Some of them is like, okay, you're gonna pitch 10 like all the things that you know to do but you don't do, they get done in the success group, right? And who here will be honest enough to say, I know a lot of things that I'm not doing. I might need a little accountability. Right? Like who's honest enough to say that? And when we would do surveys in the group, the thing that comes up is like, yeah, we get accountability, but we would like more of it, right? And so that's the reason why the success groups were created. So these are smaller groups, right? Smaller groups, typically we have 8 to 12, 8 to 15 people showing up on those calls, right? And it's just accountability, accountability, accountability. Okay, so Dr. Corey said, yep, that's me. I need accountability. It's too easy to get caught up in the day-to-day business, right? And that's why it exists. So you show up, you know, at least I put an hour of what we call revenue generating activities. So not fluff, not I'm tweaking my website, you know, I'm thinking, no, chop, let's do some work here, okay? So we have those, we have the private Facebook community, which I've already talked about, like you show up, you engage with that, right? I mean, like, and I'm not talking about binging on social media. I'm talking about being in an environment where you can give help, receive help, acknowledge your wins, acknowledge your trials, share your trials, get help, network with people, connect people to others. You get connected to others. Like take advantage of your network, right? Like in the EntreMD Business School, if we were to put the network, maybe one day I'll do this. Like the network and pull out the average. I mean, like, it's mind blowing. Okay. So you engage with that. It's so powerful. What has started happening in the school is something I've been wishing for. And that is that there's so many wins that are being created that have nothing to do with me. Nothing at all. Somebody posted a win. She had, it's so fun. She had pitched for a TED Talk. She had pitched for a TED Talk. And, you know, they told her, she did the interview. They were like, we don't like it. They tore it to shreds, all that stuff. They told her we didn't like it. But she had learned from Dr. Beckford. Dr. Beckford talked about the thank you factor, right? And so she read about that and she was like, okay, so she reached out to them, sent them an email, thanked them, like, thank you so much for interviewing me and all of this stuff. I took your feedback, took it seriously. I was thinking I could do this other talk and this is what it'll do, boom, 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 boom. And she just sent it, right? So she told that and she did hashtag epic fail. So that was my fail. So she's now like, now for my epic win, she was like, I wanted to do TV. And, you know, Dr. Barbara Joy is in the EntreMD Business School. She's done a lot of TV, like CNN, Fox, all of those things. And so she did a class for us showing us how to pitch the media. And so she was like, I went and I watched that and, you know, to get ready and all of those things. And she got a spot, you know, to get on Fox and all of those things. So that was her epic win. Now, the kicker is in the comments, like a day later, she's like, oh my goodness. We're like, what? She's like, the people I emailed to tell them thank you, they accepted my talk, right? So it went from, we don't want to see you, we don't like what you're talking about, to they accepted her talk. But I want you to see the thing. The first win was Dr. Beckford. The second win was Dr. Barbara Joy. And I just sat back and I was like, this is fantastic. We call it the EBS Commonwealth, right? The Commonwealth of the EntreMD Business School. I'm like, look at that. I had nothing to do with it, right? And so the network is so rich. If you take advantage of it, it'll really turn everything around. Really turn everything around. And you may say, but I don't know if I have the time and all of these things to engage. I hear you. Dr. Rebecca Behrens, I'll shout her out forever because she joined the EntreMD Business School. At the time, she had a 7-month-old. And she was like, I'm not going to be able to make Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Like, that's just not going to happen. But she's scheduled so that she could always watch the replays. In fact, she's the reason I make sure as soon as we're done, the replays go up because I know like clockwork on Thursday, she's going to be watching those replays. And she, I mean, like in the DPC world, because she has a direct primary care practice, she is known as a rock star. She is crushing it. And that's with somebody who I cannot count on one hand how many live sessions she's shown up for, like on Wednesdays, but still she's making it work. Okay. So if you decide, like, I'm going to make the decision, I'm going to 10x my investment, I am going to make the commitment to doing the work, I'm going to redefine my relationship with failure. Okay. I am not a failure. I may have failed projects, but I'm going to go from failure to failure without losing my enthusiasm, because apparently this is what rockstar entrepreneurs do. Okay. You decide, I'm gonna give up comparison. I'm gonna choose to be inspired. Choose to be inspired when I see people getting wins so big I can't even imagine it. I'm like, look at that. That's a vision board moment, right? Like, I'm gonna choose to be inspired. And finally you decide to engage with all the elements of the school. If you decide to do that, you are setting yourself up to 10x your investment. And you may be looking at the doctors in school. This has come up with a lot of people who've applied to the school. Like, I don't know if I'll fit in. I don't know if I'll be the weak link in the school. I don't know if I belong there. Okay, I'm the founder of the school. Okay, so let me tell you this: you belong. If you are somebody who is coachable, you're committed, you want to build that business, you belong. Okay, but if you do these things and you're like, oh, those people are unicorns, if you do these things, you'll find out that, yeah, I'm a unicorn too. I'm a unicorn too. And this time next year, somebody else will be looking at you like, I don't know if I belong because look at that unicorn. And it's you. Right? And so don't believe that anybody's like, better than you and all this. It's not about that. And if you come into the community, it's not about competition. It's all about collaboration. A lot of collaboration. A lot of collaboration. Okay. All right. So people come up and like, I don't know if I have the time. Again, we will work with you on how to figure out time. We do the CEO calendar. We do, practicing the 80-20 rule. So, the work that actually matters, right? We talk about all of those things, the time blocking, how to do things smarter. So you work the time. And the thing is, not working or not having time doesn't make you have time, right? Like there's an intervention needed there somewhere, right? Some of you might be like, I'm not sure if I'll be a good fit. I've shown you what will help you 10x your investment, right? So if you are coachable, you're committed, you're willing to stay in conversation, like if you're struggling, if you're winning and stuff like that, you will thrive. Like, you have the opportunity of doing that. Okay. Some people are like, I've tried something like this before. And I want to say, maybe not the business school and maybe not with this whole attitude we talked about, right? And so I want you to give yourself grace and decide, you know what? I'm ready to do it like I mean it. Like, let's get this stuff done. You know what I mean? And so I just want to say, if you've been thinking about it, I came on here to show you this is how you can thrive. Okay? And hundreds of doctors have done it, and so can you. Okay? And for your, let me tell you about your cohort, because I have some of them here, and Dr. Toyosi is here. I was like, when I saw your name, I was like, yes. Okay, let me tell you something. And you can't tell all the other doctors in this school, you have to shut your ears, okay? I have never been so excited to meet a group of doctors. I'm like, because this cohort, they're phenomenal. Their stories are phenomenal, what they're trying to build, where they're trying to take their businesses, and they're hungry. They're like, let's get this done. They're on here. They're on here. They're like, let's get this done. And so I'm so excited because Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Wednesday, we start working the EBS kickoff event. And truthfully, what is going to happen there is that we're just going to set them up to kill Q2. I was thinking about it. I was like, is this a coincidence that we are starting the kickoff event the last week of Q1? And you're going to show up in Q2 with a brand new attitude, brand new focus, brand new strategy, brand new direction, brand new support, brand new accountability. This is going to be your best quarter yet. And in the EntreMD Business School, we all decided that this is our masterpiece year. It's not going to be a year like any other year. This is our we are creating masterpieces. And you're just coming at the most amazing time. So I'm so excited for you. So if you've been thinking about it, please turn in an application. Okay, entremd.com/business. Chances are you'll get on the phone with Makita. The people who've gotten on with her, they're like, oh my goodness, thank you. This was such a valuable call. So you get to meet her. She's amazing. She really is. So turn that in. And if you have, questions, questions that you want to ask and things like that, you can post that in the chat. Okay. And otherwise, if this is after this, just, fill out the application and we'll get on a call with you. That's really the way that would work. Okay. So that's what I have for you guys. But, I think I want to leave you with this. Okay. Dr. Kieran, are you able to come on camera? I see you here. Let's make some noise about you. Oh, look at that. Okay, hang on. Guys, who wants to hear a story from Dr. Kieran? Let's see. Dr. Kieran, let's see if the people vote. Dr. Kieran is a pediatrician. She's in the EntreMD Business School. She launched her practice November 19th. We are so unbelievably proud of her. Dr. Karen, I'm going to have you come on. I know I'm putting you on the spot. She's like, but EntreMD Business School, we talk, that's what we do. And I'm going to have you, because someone may need to hear this, right? Talk to me about business before the EntreMD Business School. Take us back to where somebody is right now.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so to back it up, I listened to Dr. Una's podcast probably for like a good 3 months, and I identified with her because she had her own private practice, but then was like building other businesses and teaching other doctors how to run or how to start their businesses and make them profitable. And I thought, okay, if Dr. Una can like do one private practice and then all these other businesses, I think I can manage one private practice. And I was part of a small group at the time, but I started in January of 2022, thinking that I was going to learn skills that would help me in my small group practice. Fast forward, I ended my relationship with that small group practice last July and looked at all of my options because we always have choices. And I think that with all of the background that I got from Dr. Una and from the other doctor entrepreneurs in the group, I just really felt empowered to start my own practice, and that all of this stuff that I'd been learning over the last 7 months in EBS really was, I think, what gave me the confidence to be able to launch. And so we launched in November of 19. I had patients knocking on my door before we were even really open. And it's been 4 months, and we are profitable this month. The pushes that we get and the accountability in the group, I think, are a big part of that. Because, it is, I think somebody commented, it's so easy to be busy. And as doctors, we are constantly busy. And so that accountability is really important because it gives you kind of a timeline where you really have to kind of, get comfortable with being uncomfortable and push yourself farther than you think that you're capable of doing. But it's wonderful because everybody here is in a different stage of their business and has different types of businesses. There's plenty of people in private practice. Some are still readying to hatch. Some have hatched. Some are a year or two into it. I still think of my practice as like a little newborn, but the more that you partake in EBS, like Dr. Una says, the more you lean into it, the more you get back. So for instance, I had kind of been so busy doing the things that I forgot to post in the group. But what's wonderful about posting the group, both your wins and your challenges, is that other people in the group see your wins and your challenges. And not only do they encourage you, but they learn from what your experience has been. And so, every bit of EBS is invaluable. It is if you want to be a physician entrepreneur, if you think that you're going to start a business or you have a business, this is the place to be. This essentially is like an enzyme catalyst to a chemical reaction. You know what you're starting with, you know where you want to go, but and you could read it in a book and you could listen to podcasts forever, or you could be in a group that just it's like being on a rocket ship, really. It's like the best investment I've ever made in my business and even in myself, because It's not specifically like a life coaching thing, but there's a big piece of it. And a lot of the people in the group understand growth mindset and not letting the fear of failure kind of push you back and keep you under. So it's been an incredible ride. And I think I'll probably be like an EBS lifer.
I
I
love,
love
we already have a hashtag. Okay.
I do.
I
EBS
can't remember who
lifer.
said that first. Like hashtag EBS for life. I was like, we can work with that. I
We
like
could
that
do
hashtag.
that. Yeah, we'll all be like old and gray together on our 90th birthdays,
Yes.
celebrating our masterpieces of life. Thanks to Dr. Una.
Oh man, congratulations. Like I'm so happy for you. Like so you brought up a few things. And one of the things is something we talk about a lot in EBS. When you came in, you were happily in a group practice. The
Mhm.
thought of not being there was not a thing and all of that. But here you are learning all these skills, building your brand and all of these things and applying it to the place where you were. One of the things we say in the EntreMD Business School is the greatest reward of building a business is not the business. Like that is great that you can serve all these people, you can earn and all of that. But the greatest reward is who you become. So even though you didn't know that was what was going to happen, you had become an entrepreneur. So when it's like, okay, so what are my options? Because as an entrepreneur, I can build multiple kinds of businesses here. And you're like, do that, do that, do that, do. I want that one.
Right.
And here you are, you built it. And because you built your brand, you said people were already knocking on your doors before you were open, right? And that's why we say it's always working. So here you are, you decide to start a practice, people are already knocking on your doors, you know the work to do. And for those of you, when you come into the school, you can actually search her name and read her posts. She did the work, right? She's like, I know the work to do. I don't need anybody to give me a checklist. I know exactly what needs to happen here. And here you are 4 months in, and you're saying my practice is profitable. Now, let's put this in perspective. It's not a direct comparison, but I want to give you a statistic that is really crazy. I don't have the statistics for 2022, but in 2020, 16, yes, there was a pandemic, but 16,000 private practices closed their doors. 16,000. And here is somebody building a practice in peds, right? Because peds, one of the things that irks me so much, I see it on social media all the time. You're not just a lowly pediatrician. I'm like, lowly? No, you don't do that. And here you are profitable in 4 months.
Mhm.
Now, I want you to talk to me about when you had the opportunity, right? And for everyone who's here and you're like, Dr. Una, I binge on your podcast. If you're ready to take that podcasting to the next level, like the EntreMD Business School is screaming your name, okay? Go turn your application, okay? entremd.com/business. But when you're in this position, you had no idea that what is happening now would happen. But you had the opportunity to join the school. You're like, I like Dr. Una, but now we have to, if we're going to get into school, we have this investment, all this stuff. Walk me around what your thoughts were at the time.
Of joining
Or were you just like, oh, yeah, this makes total sense. Let's do this. Or did you have any objections, some thoughts that, were like, yeah, I don't know if I should do that?
Well, I think the biggest objection was like, looking at it as like, you have to look at it as an investment, right? And I've heard this reverberated throughout like different physician communities that the best investment you can make is the one in yourself. And that I think for any physician is a very important lesson. I think if you're a physician entrepreneur, it's even more important of a lesson. It really helped me like actually finance my own private practice. Which was a really big deal because I was not ready to fund my own private practice. And so I had to really kind of come up with some big power moves to pay for it. And I don't think if I had had to make that decision 12 months prior, that I would have been ready to make that decision. And I probably would have just, I don't know, like signed up with a corporate hospital system or something, and that was an option at the time last July. And I thought, no, actually, there was a reason why I left that hospital position years ago. I'm not going back. And I think one of the things that happens when you're part of EBS is it transforms you as a human. It transforms you as a physician. It transforms you as an entrepreneur, and you just don't fit in that box anymore. And the crazy thing is, like, if you look back at where you were 12 months prior, the way that you think is so like astronomically different, like you'd hardly recognize yourself. And there are times where, so here's what I do, like when, this is maybe Dr. Una knows and Makita knows and the women in the group know, probably about 4 to 6 weeks ago, I was kind of in this plateau of not seeing the revenue coming in fast enough, even though I was doing all the things. And so what I started doing was really binging on podcasts with EBS, EntreMD. I just was like, okay, I really need this motivation to know that I'm not the only person going through this kind of plateau of I don't see it coming, I don't see it coming. But being consistent, also posting that as a challenge, like, guys, I'm in this plateau phase where it is really hard to be patient. And I know that I've done all the right things and I've done the work and I'm just waiting for it to happen. So, yeah, when I joined EBS, actually, 4 months later was the vision or the mastermind, the business mastermind. And I was like, I honestly don't know what table to sit at because I'm in private practice. I'm thinking of going solo. Maybe I'm going to be DPC. I'd love to be a coach. And, there were all these different options. And so I just sat down at a table. And the thing is with EBS is the more that you share, the more that you ask, the more information and the more that you get back. So just sitting there and really talking to other women who'd kind of been in similar situations, there were men there too, really, I think helped me start to have something to be able to make a decision with, 3 months down the road when unexpectedly I was like, okay, we're done, moving on. Now what do I do? And all of a sudden I had this network of other physician entrepreneurs that I could call on, either for just like emotional encouragement or ideas. I mean, it's amazing. Like when you sit down and talk to an EBS, or like everybody has something that you've never heard of that they're using that to promote their business. And I mean, I would say within a month, like I really got my investment back. I would say every month I get the investment back in either saving money because of a business decision that came up with either something I heard, that we discussed in EBS, or a tip that I got from another EBS classmate. It's an investment that pays for itself very quickly. And if you really want to create like the masterpiece of your life, this is the way to do it. I have had more time, more flexible scheduling than I ever thought was possible for a physician in private practice. And I've been able to craft a practice that really reflects who I am as a physician. And my returning patients absolutely love it.
Oh man. Okay. Can we show her some love? I thought it was EBS. I was like, can we give her some jazzy hands? Can I show her some love in the comments? Thank you so much for sharing that. And I would, if we were not at EBS, I would say I'm sorry for putting you on the spot, but this is how we roll, So so you're here for the ride. But you actually did say some really important things that I actually took notes, right? Like this is really good. I want you to think about this being your reality because Dr. Karen, this is amazing. She says, when I think about it, I just don't fit in that box anymore. There is a box we're in as physicians. There is this box of I'm a one-trick pony. Most private practices, most businesses are jobs that are owned. Like we're not really building businesses. We're stuck. Insurances, they just mess with, that's just the way it is. But there's a different, like you can step out of the box, right? And EBS is an alternate reality. We don't live in that box, right? And then you said in a year, you won't recognize yourself. Like how many of you would like in a year, you're like, wow, if somebody told me this was possible, I won't believe it. And what Dr. Palmer is telling you is this sentiment of so many doctors in the EntreMD Business School. This is the reason why I have the nerve to call people up who are not prepped to do this. I've done this all week long. I'm like, oh yeah, you say, unmute yourself, right? Like that's the reason why. Then she said, and again, this goes back to what we talked about. She was doing all the things, and then she got to this plateau where she's like, I'm doing the thing, but I'm not seeing the result. I'm doing the thing, but I'm not seeing the result. She could have hid. She could have said it's not working. She could have said doctor was just lying. She could have just, said, let me go find a job with the hospital. But she came up And she said, okay, guys, I'm doing the things, it's not working. And if I remember, not it's not working, you didn't say that, but I'm not seeing the results fast enough. Because
Right.
something we say in EntreMD Business School is it is always
It's
working.
always
Because it's
working.
always working, right? And I
Mhm.
remember that Wednesday when we came for our live session, you came on and you're like, okay, Dr. Una, this is what is going on, right? And we were able to talk you through that, like, chop, chop, right? Like, fall in love with the process. Don't worry about the results, they're coming. And here you are, right? And so that's leaning into the community, because you can choose that vulnerability, or you can choose, I'm just going to pretend I'm strong all the time. And when I'm struggling, I'll hide. Oh my goodness, don't do that. There's so much strength in the group, right? And you talked I wrote down. I'm like, okay, this is perfect. I'm using this every month. I make my investment back. Okay, forget 10x in your investment. Okay, how about making your investment back every single month? Right? I could live with that. And the last thing here, which is, when we end the sessions with the EntreMD Business School, I always end with this, like, don't forget who you are, right? Remember that you are the ones building the most innovative, most impactful, most profitable businesses. I always say that because that's what we're doing. We're building those businesses in a different way. They could be private practice, they could be coaches, they could be other, consultants, they could be speakers, they could be entrepreneurs who they're working their job, but they're building this brand. But regardless, we're not doing the status quo businesses. So you heard her say, I'm building a business. I have more flexibility than I thought was ever possible for someone in private practice. But she's always been in private practice, right? So she's seen private practice, but look at what she's building. This can be your story. Okay. So if for some people, you might decide, I don't want to do the work. Like, that's cool. I'm so happy doctors are doing that. That's fine. That's totally fine. But I'll still have you listen to my podcast. I still love to inspire you and all of those things. I'm going to do another visibility workshop. I want you to come back for it, right? Okay. But if you're here and I'm done with the way I'm doing things, whether you're employed, whether you have a private practice, whether you're a coach, whether you're a speaker, you're like, I'm done. Like, I have I have entertained the crazy thought of, what if I 10x the way I'm doing things? What if life was completely different? This masterpiece thing they're talking about. What if 2023 could be my masterpiece year too? If you're thinking about that, there is a container where things like that become possible. It's called the EntreMD Business School. Okay, so don't let fear, we said this on day one of the visibility formula, don't let fear stop you. Don't let the what if stop you. You're like, what if my business idea is not the idea? Dr. Palmer's business idea was not the idea. Well, here she is. Because the most important thing is you become an entrepreneur, right? And you will work the idea. And when she was building her personal brand, she didn't know she would be leveraging it for her private practice. She was just building it. But here she is, right? And so even if you're unsure, don't let the fear stop you. Being certain is not required. Being committed to doing the work, being coachable, and choosing to be vulnerable in community so you can get all the help you can need, so you can give and take, that is what is required. Having figured it all out, that is not required. Having all your acts together, not required. Oh, I need to be able to do 100% of the work, not required. You're coachable, you're committed to doing the work, you're deciding, I'm going to stay in conversation. Like, if I'm struggling, I'll say it. If I'm winning, I'll share it. I'm going to give value to the community. I'm going to take value from the community. If you have that, you're good to go. That's all you need. That's all you, and of course you're a physician, right? But that's all you need. Okay. So turn in your application. If you have questions, we're happy to answer them on entremd.com/business. But now you know what you need to do to 10x your investment. Okay. So for those of you in the business school, either not the old cohort, but you've been in the school, or the new cohort, I'm going to type 10x if this is your commitment. And maybe you're filling out an application. You're like, Dr. Una, wait. I fill out my application. I'm going to be there. I'm going to type 10x. I like Dr. Toy. She says, like, I appreciate that sentiment, but 100x is kind of my number. I'm with you. Let me tell you something that happened. There was a doctor in the business school. I'm not going to say her name because she hasn't shared this publicly yet. But she was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make $1 million. And I know when she said that, she had no idea how she was going to do that. Well, she sent me a DM 3 days ago. She's like, Dr. Una, $1 million. We crossed it. Right? So, Dr. Toyosi, you're saying 100x. You hang on to that. I don't know what to tell you. You just hang on to that. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for joining me, everybody. I hope this was a lot of value. If you're like, no, the business school is absolutely not for me, I want you to take this and work it in the container you're working in now, right? But if you've been thinking about it, I'm inviting you, because guess what? When we do the EBS kickoff event, I want to be there with you. I want to work with you. The team is going to be there. Dr. Beckford is going to be there. Makita is going to be there. And we are going to help you craft a masterpiece 90-day plan. So Q2 will be your best quarter ever. Well, not ever yet, right? Because in EBS we say yet, because the next one is going to be even better, right? And so your best quarter yet. Okay, so we're going to be doing that starting Wednesday, and I can't wait. I cannot wait to serve you guys. I cannot wait to support you. I cannot wait for you to meet the other docs in the school, to introduce you to them. This is going to be the ride of a lifetime. Okay. All right, people. Dr. Carolyn says, how can we look into that in-person retreat offer? Just turn in your application. Turn your application. That's a given. So once you do that and we get you in the school, we'll give you all the details for that. And if I get to see you in Atlanta, what? That's like the bestest. Okay, so that's the bonus, in case you weren't here when I talked about it. That's the bonus you get to come in for the retreat, half off. Like Dr. Palmer did not even get that offer. She paid twice what you will be paying to come to Atlanta. Okay, but it's gonna be amazing. Like everything we've described, it all happens virtually. You cannot imagine when we're together in person. It is pure magic. Okay. All right, so thank you for joining me. Go fill in your application. Makita's on standby waiting for you. She's like, oh my goodness, people, do it, okay? And I'll see you guys in the group, and I'll see you on Wednesday for the EBS kickoff event, where we're gonna be creating your masterpiece here, okay? All right,